Hello. Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I'm back today to do my July wrap up. So let's do this. Alright, the first book that I managed to finish this month was Middlesex by Jeffrey Genovese, and this is definitely my favorite book of the month, probably my favorite book of all time, at least one of them. And yeah, I had previously read The Virgin Suicides by him, and it didn't make me feel one way or the other, really. I still don't know exactly how I felt about that book, and I think I just went into it with too many expectations. So I went into this book with absolutely no expectations, and I didn't know a whole lot about the story other than it's about a boy who was born a hermaphrodite and raised as a girl. And just, uh, I think I'm gonna make a completely separate video just talking about this book because I could talk about it for forever. But it went back a couple generations, and just the way the family and the storylines were woven together, and the writing style that he used, and just like the psychology involved, and the kind of growing of America and seeing how the country was changing and getting to learn more about the history of Michigan, which is my state, was always nice. So, yeah, definitely started the month off right with this one. So, I participated in the High Summer Readathon this month, which happened July 20th through the 26th. And I pretty much finished most of these books during that week. I had been really busy, and like I said, Middlesex was, 530 pages, so that definitely took me most of the start of the month to read. And I was also reading uh, Allegiant by Veronica Ross, which is the third book in the Divergent series. And yeah, that was the next book that I finished. What do I say? I gave that book a 4 out of 5 stars just because I had heard a lot about the book. Vague things, nothing too spoilery, but it spoiled it in a way. Just by knowing that something big happened and that a lot of people got upset about it, I'm automatically thinking, like, all these things, all these possibilities in my mind, and so what happened maybe wasn't, it was still tragic, but also not what I was expecting, and I don't know, it gave me totally mixed feelings about the book, and I liked it, I think, more than some other people, possibly. Um, Spoiler alert right now, if you haven't finished the book, I'm actually going to mention something because I just have to get this out there. So, Triss dies, and I just kept expecting, like, what I was really worried about what would happen is that they would go into the city and then somehow wouldn't be protected against the memory serum, and so they'd all just, like, lose their memories, and that would be the end of the book. But I'm glad that didn't happen, because that would have been probably worse. I feel like I would have been way more upset about that. But I think it was totally natural that Triss died, and I was not actually that upset about it, because, I don't know, this death is a part of life. Like, not everyone's gonna survive something like that. She survived so many things, and I feel like she had it coming, and so we all have it coming. I don't know. I wasn't as that upset about it. I actually liked that happened, which, I don't know, that makes me sound like kind of a horrible person, but that made the book better for me. The only thing that I didn't like is, like I said, I felt like it was spoiled. I felt in some ways like I was just waiting for the pin to drop, and the first part of the book was really slow for me. So that was the only thing. A 4 out of 5, obviously not a bad rating, but that's the only reason that I didn't give it a 5 out of 5. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I like the book. Definitely wish that I could have erased like all the things that I knew before, like I don't know. The next book that I finished during the week was Miss Marlowe, which is actually a comic book, and this is volume 2, Generation Y. I picked this up from my local library, and I really like this book. Continuation of the story before, and the only thing that I had an issue with, I like the storyline. I was impressed with what happened. I really liked the dog, like her little sidekick dog. Yeah, that was I like the dog, but the only thing I wasn't as impressed with, and I don't know, I definitely didn't notice this reading the first one. It could have been in there too. I just wasn't as picky about it. The art at the beginning and the way they draw her was just a little inconsistent for me. Um, Later on in the book, I recognized her character a lot more. And at first I thought maybe it was something to do with when she was in the mask, when she was, being Miss Marvel, but here she is being Miss Marvel and she's represented just fine and she looks totally normal. So, I don't know. Other than that, I like the art and I like the story and I've really been enjoying this comic, but that just was a little thing that I had an issue with. It's not a big thing. But anyways, moving on. The next book that I finished was just a little short book as well, and it's about 154 pages long, I believe. And that is The Stranger by Albert Camus. I say Camus, but I was watching a video the other day, and then someone said Camus. So if that's correct, let me know. I don't know how to pronounce anyone's name, apparently. I need some pronunciation help. I thought the only issue I'd have was Proust or Proust or whatever that name is that no one knows. Anyways, moving on to the next subject. And what did I give this? 4 out of 4? Or 4 out of 5 stars, I think. Maybe a 3 out of 5. No, I think I gave this 4 out of 5. Anyways, I like the story, but I had a hard time getting into it because, if you don't know, this is a little story about a man who commits a crime and he's being convicted, and you're kind of hearing about his life and the events leading up to it, and why in the world would he commit this crime that he did. And it's appropriately named The Stranger because you never really understand like his motivations or him himself, like what he becomes. I just felt like I never felt one way or the other about him because he never felt one way or the other about anything in his life. He never had opinions about anything really. And he just sort of slid through with not, I don't know, like never deciding on anything, like never standing up for anything. And it's hard to get behind someone like that, Like I understood, obviously, called The Stranger. I understood where it was going with that, but it's hard to get behind someone who you don't really know or you can't feel any sort of connection or empathy towards. Yeah, because they don't feel connected to anything in the story or anything in their life. So, yeah, I guess it was good from that standpoint because like I said, I could see what he was trying to do with the book and was trying to explain about life, but the next book is a classic, and that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And I actually listened to this on audiobook. I have all the audiobooks of all the 7 books, and I just like listening to them every now and then and going back and visiting Hogwarts and visiting my friends and going home. um, you know, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I had chores to do, a lot of stuff to do around the house, and so I had this playing in the background, chilling out with Harry. Always a good time. The last book that I haven't quite finished yet, but I'm hoping that I finish by the end of the day, even though I have like 2 hours till midnight. But I think I can do it. Hopefully. It is just a group of short stories. But anyways, that is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, and I have been really liking this book. Like I said, it's kind of a compilation of short stories about Hemingway and his first wife, Hadley Richardson, and their time in Paris, and just the group of artists and writers and interesting people that they hung out with in the 20s. And so, yeah, I previously read The Paris Wife, which talks about that time and was written from Hadley, his wife's perspective, and so it's fun reading this and kind of hearing about it from his perspective and like recognizing different places or different times that were talked about in the Paris Life. So that's fun, and I could stay with this book for a while now. I feel like I just want to stay and enjoy like Hemingway's Paris. Seems like a cool place to be, even though he's starving, but he's an artist. He's a starving artist, and he's following his passion and doing what he loves, and I'm always for that. So yeah, I keep this song.